I just got back from a 3-night cruise in a solo studio, and it was a trip like no other. We're talking the world's tiniest bathroom, sprinting to catch the bus, a surprisingly massive bed, all for me, in-room disasters and how to stop them, the real perks of sailing solo, and even making new friends.
Michelle.
Well, sort of. Let's go. Arriving in Florida by myself, I decided to take the cruise line's shuttle. It makes more sense when you're solo since you pay per person rather than per car. The desk was empty because the staff had just walked the group to the bus. Even though she and I actually ran down the terminal to catch it, the bus had already pulled away. It was only 10:40, so I was still in luck. But this video almost ended before it even started. About 45 minutes later, here I am at the port of Miami. And there she is, the Norwegian Getaway. Let's go. As with any cruise, the first thing you do on board is check in at your muster station so they don't come hunting for you later. Once that's done, you're officially free. I know some people are afraid to dine alone, but as you can see, it actually has its perks. Being solo usually secures you a prime ocean view seat since the smaller tables are right by the window. I started off with the chicken noodle soup just like I did on my very first Norwegian cruise, but things were different. More on that later. You'll likely have nowhere to go while they prepare the staterooms. Whether you spend the time exploring the ship or just grabbing a sunbed is entirely up to you. In my case, as soon as I got settled, my room was ready. I headed down the hallway toward the front of the ship, where the studio lounge, or should I say the studio lounge, was waiting for me. Behind these doors are 2 colorfully lit hallways dedicated to solo travelers and, of course, the lounge itself, which we'll check out later. But first, let's go see the room. Room 10507, featuring a window that looks out to absolutely nowhere. Let's head inside. Right behind the door is pretty much the entire room. We have a full-size bed which is smaller than most beds you'll find on a ship, but it's certainly enough for one. Although I do wonder why they provided 2 pillows and cushions for a solo room. According to the jump test, it looks like a comfortable journey ahead. Well, so far. Away from the bed, they managed to cram in everything you'll need in a relatively efficient way. There's even a full-size mirror. The shower isn't much different from standard cabins, possibly a little smaller. But here's the thing though, you ready? You only get 1 towel of each size.
One.
I found extras under the bed, but they might be as old as I am. You also only get 1 cup, but thankfully there are plenty of outlets for all your gear. The most critical part though is the split bathroom. While a separate toilet was the only way to fit everything in, the space is incredibly tight. You can't even extend your arms in any direction, and most of the time I just left the door open so I didn't feel like I was trapped in an inescapable cell. Don't worry, I'm wearing my pants. The sink is pretty cute. It will get the job done, but you might make a splash if you're not careful. Storage-wise, they did a pretty solid job with these sliding doors, though the reality of a small space remains. And depending on whether you are expecting a guest to impress, the room can get messy fast. Pro tip, make sure to keep your stuff away from the shower to prevent a disaster. A short while later, the pool started filling up as everybody really kicked off their vacation. Interestingly, the Carnival Conquest, a ship I have actually sailed on before, zoomed right past us. Then it was finally our turn. Up next is a solo traveler's biggest perk, the studio lounge. lounge. This area is accessible only to those who book a solo fare and is stocked with complimentary tea, water, lemonade, and snacks throughout the day. Only thing extra would be the bar service that's open from 5 to 7. Oh, and you absolutely have to try the butter cookies. If you prefer a light breakfast, you can find fresh pastries and lemonade here every morning. This was a blessing just steps away. A quick tip for first-time cruisers: if you use your own bottles or tumblers, always use a fresh cup at the dispenser to refill them. It is an important hygiene rule. In the corner, there was a whiteboard, a perfect spot to leave messages for fellow solo travelers, to plan hangouts or, make new friends. However, I ended up barely spending any time here besides grabbing quick snacks. Why let this beautiful, spacious place go to waste? Well, contrary to the name, the lounge was predominantly filled with groups. It was either groups of friends who all booked solo rooms, or one solo traveler among the group letting their friends in from other cabins. Unfortunately, over the 4 days, I only saw maybe 3 other solo travelers compared to about 20 people traveling in groups. Speaking of groups and crowds, the dinner scene was a total shocker. The Manhattan room and every other main dining room were completely full, so I had no choice but to head to the buffet. I wanted a quiet, peaceful dinner in a corner by myself, and I ended up sitting in literally the smallest, most limited corner space I could find. I didn't know it then, but this was a very important moment for the days to come. I'll save the in-depth food reviews for another time, so let's get back to the solo journey. Is there even a better time for a nap than right after a meal? I think not. I'm going to close my window to nowhere and get some sleep. Don't worry though, there's always something happening on a ship of this magnitude. We just have to decide. Do we party, try to win, or lose some money in the casino, or maybe enjoy some classic sing-alongs with... Oh, hello, Tony. Muted for obvious reasons. The night went on and I hadn't made any new friends yet. To be fair, that wasn't really the goal anyway. I was ready to let the first night conclude, or at least I tried. Remember this moment? Listen to that background noise. It turned out to be a permanent feature of the room, coming from the shower and the bathroom plumbing.
Depending on your sensitivity, you might need something more than just a typical earplug.
These noise-canceling earbuds were an absolute necessity until the very last day of the trip. Well, regardless of the noise, off to sweet dreams. In the morning, you definitely want to make your way to the lounge. It is only about 20 steps from your room and it's stocked with fresh pastries. Of course, if you want a full meal, you can head to the buffet for a fresh omelet. I missed that shot again. One of the best parts of being a solo traveler is that there's no need to hoard sunbeds, towels, or prime spots. I started my day as early as 8 a.m. rotating between the sunbeds and hot tubs for over 2 hours. By 10:15, the chairhawks had officially arrived and almost every bed was occupied by a towel. My next stop was the studio lounge. It was so quiet and peaceful in there, even more so than the premium areas behind the paywall. One thing I missed though was a giant poolside screen. Unlike Carnival where they play movies throughout the day, the ship took a different approach. As the sun set, I went to pick up my solo cruiser t-shirt for the glow party. Quite a unique design, right? Ha ha ha. Though there's an endless supply of activities, By the second night, everyone had realized those cookies in the lounge are in high demand, especially the butter cookies. Even without that sugary butter cookie, it was still a great day. Good night. And good morning. Hello, crowd. I have decided to settle for a light but yummy breakfast. These pastries from the lounge are beyond delicious. Like, so good, I'm willing to let go of breakfast contents over these pastries. It won't be long before the crowds clear off the ship. Today is a port day and everyone is getting ready to disembark to a beautiful private island. Oh, hello, Royal Caribbean. I just met a fellow solo traveler, Michelle. We were chatting for like a minute while she was waiting for her tender boat. The thing is, she said it's her first cruise. She's here to cross off on the bucket list item, alright? Now here's what she said. She's not sure if she's gonna ever come back to a cruise. Gotta change that. Here's the problem. A minute was enough for a small talk. We didn't exchange number. We didn't say, hey, let's meet up here. I just said, oh, have fun. I'll see you back on the ship. Yeah. So it's looking like I'm probably going to do 30,000 steps. Just walking around the ship forever and ever until I run into her again. Yeah. And so I did. Well, not exactly 30,000 steps, but 21,000. And not exactly just to see Michelle, but to make a full ship tour video. That's in the works too, so stay tuned. To be honest, I had no expectation of running into her again, and I just left a message. After all, this is a gigantic ship with nearly 4,000 other passengers. And as I concluded my tour before getting lost,
Do you believe in fate, destiny, coincidence, mistake, whatever? So I took a wrong path. I had to go around and around and around. Guess who I ran into? So this time, I got to say, let's meet at the studio lounge at 2 o'clock. Instead of saying, oh yeah, have fun, I'll see you later, Alright.
and so I got ready and grabbed some snacks from the lounge to enjoy before returning to the lone corner of the buffet with my food. Yeah,
Dining by myself. Yeah.
that was the last time I ever spoke to her. And if you haven't noticed, yes, that's where she was sitting earlier. But out of respect, she will remain a mystery figure. Well, who knows what the future holds. And so, over the beautiful blue waters and another sunset, I continue to enjoy my true solo cruise as we slowly drafted back for our final return to Miami. While I was glad to finally have the solo studio experience, the overall score was a bit lower than my previous cruises. Hit that like and subscribe button to stay tuned for more cruise videos, and I will see you in the next video.